What if prayer wasn't just about words? What if it was about realigning your soul with the universe? Welcome to the Jewish Code. Today we're diving into something deeper than ritual, deeper than religion, Jewish prayer, but not just emotions, it's meaning. Because in Judaism, prayer isn't begging, it's becoming. What is Jewish prayer, really? Let's start with something most people miss in Jewish tradition. Prayer is not primarily about asking for things, it's about connecting your physical body, your thinking mind, and your eternal soul to something infinite. That infinite is what Jewish mystics call Ein, Sof literally, the endless one, the source that has no beginning, no end, and no form, but somehow everything flows from it. Now in Hebrew, the word for prayer is Tefillah, but it doesn't mean to ask. It actually comes from the root word palo, which means to judge or to examine oneself. So at its core, Tefillah is about reflection, introspection, and realignment. There's another beautiful phrase from Jewish tradition, Amida, service of the heart. That's what prayer is supposed to be. Not lip service, not mumbling out of duty, but a spiritual discipline, a focused, intentional act of aligning your internal world with the divine blueprint. And it's not just some modern interpretation. In the Torah itself, there's a verse that says, "And you shall serve the Lord your God with all your heart." Deuteronomy 11:13. And the ancient sages asked, how do you serve God with your heart? Their answer, through prayer, a structured meditation. Not a free-for-all. Think about how meditation has exploded in popularity today. Apps, breathing techniques, mindfulness sessions. Jewish prayer, in its original form, has always been a structured meditation. It's not random, it has rhythm, it has order, it has a progression. In fact, Jewish prayer is so structured that it has been compared to spiritual choreography and inner dance with a cosmic pattern. 3 times a day. Why timing matters in Judaism, prayer is practiced 3 times a day. That's not arbitrary. Each session represents a different moment in human consciousness and is tied to one of the biblical patriarchs. Let's break it down. Shacharit morning prayer, tied to Abraham. Morning is the beginning. It represents clarity, hope, the start of a new cycle. Abraham was the father of faith. He believed before anyone else believed. That's what morning prayer is, beginning with belief. Mincha afternoon prayer, tied to Isaac. Midday is neutral. You're in the thick of life, distractions pulling you from every angle. Isaac represents calmness, discipline, inner strength. Praying at this time is about anchoring yourself when the world is chaotic. Maariv evening prayer, tied to Jacob, and that is mystery, uncertainty, doubt, fear. Jacob's life was full of struggle. He wrestled with angels and walked into exile. Evening prayer is for when clarity fades, and faith has to rise in the dark. 3 times a day, every day, the Jewish soul checks in, like tuning an instrument to stay in harmony with the infinite. The core of the prayer, the Amida. At the center of each prayer service is a moment of stillness and presence called the Amida, also known as the standing prayer. It's said silently. You stand, you center yourself, and then you ascend internally. The Amida is structured in 3 parts. 1. Praise. You begin by acknowledging something greater than yourself, not because God needs praise, but because you need perspective. This is about remembering your place in the cosmos. 2. Petition. This is where requests are made, yes, but not like a shopping list. These are deep soul-level needs: wisdom, healing, justice, peace, forgiveness, restoration. 3. Gratitude. Finally, you say thank you. You end by appreciating what already is, no matter what's missing. It's a journey, and the sages teach that this spiritual art, praise, petition, thanks, is like a ladder from the physical world up to the spiritual realm. And when you pray this way, you're not just saying words, you're climbing the inner and outer body of prayer. Here's something most people don't realize. Jewish prayer is fully embodied. It's not just your mouth, it's your whole being. The swaying motion during prayer called shuckling isn't nervous energy. It's a way to ignite the body's rhythm, to harmonize breath and intention. The soul is like a flame, and shuckling is its flicker. Jews face Jerusalem when they pray not because the location is magical, but because direction focuses the heart. Jerusalem represents longing, unity, and the center of Jewish spiritual gravity. In the morning, religious Jews wrap Tefillah leather boxes with Torah verses on their arm and head. Why? Because prayer isn't just what you say, it's what you bind to your actions and your thoughts. And covering the head with a kippah isn't just a tradition, it's a reminder that there's something above you, that your life exists under a higher awareness. You see, in Judaism, to pray with just your lips is like dancing with no music, but to pray with your whole self, your thoughts, your posture, your focus is to turn words into wings. In Part First, we explore the structure and soul of Jewish prayer, how it isn't just recitation, but transformation. Now let's step deeper into the inner world of intention, energy, and the mystical power of words. That's the beginning of Jewish prayer. But in the next part, we're going deeper into the world of Kavanah, intention, and Kabbalah's vision of words as spiritual architecture. Because when Jews pray, it's not just communication. What is Kavanah? Spiritual intent at the heart of Jewish prayer is a concept that can be overstated. Kavanah, which means intention, focus, or direction of the heart. Without Kavanah, prayer becomes robotic, mechanical, just words. But with it, even the simplest line becomes a direct channel to the divine. The Talmud tells us that a prayer without Kavanah is like a body without a soul. You can go through the motions, but it won't live. That is why some rabbis say, better one sentence with full attention than 1,000 said. Without, Kavanah doesn't just mean thinking about the words. It means feeling them, living them, becoming them. Example, the Shema. Let's take one of the most central prayers in all of Judaism, the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. This isn't just a statement of faith, it's a cosmic declaration, a rebellion against duality, a reminder that beneath all division, all conflict, all noise, there's oneness. When said with Kavanah, the Shema isn't just heard, it reverberates through the soul. In mystical tradition, it's said that when a Jew says the Shema with full intention, all layers of the soul align from the physical to the divine spark, words as vibration. The Kabbalistic view. Now let's take a mystical turn. In Kabbalah, words aren't just tools of communication, they are vibrations of creation. Every Hebrew letter has a sound, a numerical value, gematria, a symbolic meaning. Put them together, and you don't just get language, you get spiritual energy codes. That's why Hebrew is considered Lashon HaKodesh, the holy tongue. The words of prayer in Hebrew aren't just symbolic, they are energetic formulas. Kabbalists teach that when we pronounce Hebrew prayers with Kavanah, we're activating specific flows of divine energy called Shacharit through the spiritual worlds. The four worlds in prayer in Jewish mysticism. Reality is layered into four main worlds. 1. Asiya, the physical world action. 2. Yetzirah, the emotional world formation. 3. Briah, the intellectual world creation. 4. Exile, the spiritual realm emanation. When you pray, you're not just talking, you're ascending. Each stage of prayer is designed to lift you, step by step, from Asiya to Exile, from material concerns to divine union. Think of it like a spiritual elevator, and every prayer, every verse, is a flow button. Prayer isn't just talking to God, it's becoming a vessel for God's presence to flow through you. Shemona Esrei, a blueprint of divine interaction. Let's go back to the Amida, also called the Shemona Esrei 18 blessings. It's more than just a prayer, it's a map of human experience. The early blessings are about recognizing the source, God of our ancestors, the giver of life, the one who brings redemption. Then come the personal requests for wisdom, healing, sustenance, justice, peace. Finally, we enter the gratitude zone where we acknowledge the miracles, the closeness, the blessings already here. But here's something deeper. Each blessing is rooted in the Sapphira divine channel. So when you pray for healing, you're invoking the channel of Chi's loving kindness. When you ask for justice, you're drawing from Gevurah's strength. This isn't just metaphor, it's spiritual engineering. The power of repetition. Some people say, why repeat the same prayers every day? The answer is simple and deep. Imagine you had a precious gem, and every day you polished it a little more. Over time, it starts to reflect light. Then it glows. Then it shines so brightly that it changes the space around it. That's what Jewish prayer does. It refines the soul. Each repetition is a chisel stroke. Each phrase said with Kavanah, a flame. As Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel put it, prayer may not save us, but prayer may make us worthy of being saved. Mind, body, intention. By now, we've seen that prayer in Judaism isn't a one-dimensional act. It's a total alignment of the mouth words, the heart intent, the body posture and movement, the mind focus and knowledge, the soul yearning and presence. This is why Jewish sages and mystics have said, real prayer transforms the one who prays. It doesn't always change your circumstances, but it always changes you. Why it still matters now. Let's bring this home. Today, we live in a world of noise. Instant responses, scrolling, swiping, shouting. Prayer offers something radically different. Stillness, presence, alignment. Whether whispered beside a hospital bed, muttered in a war zone, or sung at a Shabbat table, Jewish prayer connects a modern soul to an ancient story. It's not about escaping reality. It's about infusing reality with meaning. 2,000 years. One voice. There's a hauntingly beautiful idea in Jewish thought. When a Jew prays today, using the ancient words, their voice merges with the voices of generations before them. That means a prayer said in Brooklyn today could be echoing a prayer whispered in Babylon 1,500 years ago. It's more than ritual, it's spiritual continuity. To pray in Judaism is not just to speak, it's to remember, to reconnect, to rise. In the final part of this series, we're going to explore how prayer functions in the modern world through war, exile, memory, and the eternal longing for peace. We'll ask, can prayer still matter in a world like ours? Welcome to the final chapter of our journey through Jewish prayer. So far, we've explored the structure, the soul, and the mysticism. Now it is time to ask, what does all of this mean in the modern world? Prayer in the real world. Let's be honest today, a lot of people struggle with prayer. We live in a world of notifications, distractions, and pressure. Silence can feel awkward. Stillness feels unnatural. And talking to a God you can't see. For some, that feels impossible. But for the Jewish people, prayer has always been more than a personal practice. It's been a way to survive, a way to stay human when the world feels inhuman. In the ghetto, in the camps, in the trenches, Jewish history is marked by trauma wars, exiles, genocides, and in every one of those chapters, prayer kept going. In the Warsaw Ghetto, Jews whispered the Shema under curfews. In Auschwitz, some still wrap makeshift Tefillah at dawn at risk of death. In Soviet Russia, Jews prayed in secret basements, risking arrest just to say Kaddish. What kept them going? Not certainty, not comfort, but connection. Prayer gave them a link to their past, to their people, and to the God they refuse to forget. You can take away a person's home, their rights, even their name, but if they're still praying, they're still free inside. Prayer is a global echo every morning, somewhere in the world. A Jewish soul is saying the same prayers their ancestors said in Babylon, in Jerusalem, in Spain, in Yemen. It's one of the few things in history that hasn't changed. And that consistency isn't boring, it's beautiful. It's like a symphony that's been playing for thousands of years. And every time someone joins in, even for one line, they become part of the music. That's the power of collective prayer. It's not just you, it's all of us, together, across continents, across centuries. Reclaiming prayer today. So what does Jewish prayer mean for someone today? You don't have to be a rabbi. You don't need to know every Hebrew word. You don't need a synagogue. You don't even need a perfect mindset. You just need a moment, a breath, a word spoken with heart. That is prayer. And yes, Jewish prayer is structured. It's rooted in tradition, but it's also flexible. It meets you where you are. Feeling grateful, pray. Feeling angry, pray. Feeling lost, definitely pray. Even if you can't believe in God, start there. Prayer has room for your doubt, your struggle, your silence, the ancient and the future. There's a quote from the Talmud that says, prayer was created for the soul. The way fire was created for the cold. That means prayer isn't extra. It's essential, especially in a world that's gone emotionally numb. And the amazing thing, the ancient rabbis somehow anticipated the modern human condition. They designed prayers that hit every emotional state. Praise when you feel awe, petition when you feel powerless, gratitude when you remember what you have, mourning when you're broken, peace when you need calm. It's all there coded into the liturgy. All you have to do is show up. What happens when you pray spiritually? Prayer connects you to the divine, but psychologically, it does something just as profound. It slows your mind. It trains your focus. It aligns your thoughts with values. It lifts you above your ego. Prayer isn't escapism. It's realignment. And in a culture that constantly says, you are what you do, prayer gently says, you are also what you feel, what you say, and what you reach for. One person, one voice. There's a powerful midrash that says, each person's prayer rises on its own ladder to heaven. That means your voice matters. Even if you're not fluent, even if you don't always believe, even if your prayer is just a sigh or a whisper, God hears your voice. So why does it still matter? Because the world is louder than ever, and prayer is one of the few ways we still hear ourselves. Because modern life is fragmented and prayer makes us whole again. Because being human means longing for meaning, and prayer is the ancient technology that speaks that language. To pray in Jewish tradition isn't to escape life, it's to walk into it, more awake, more aligned, and more aware of what really matters. So whether you're new to prayer, returning after years away, or just curious, know this: you don't need perfect words. You don't need certainty. You just need honesty, intention, and a heart that's open enough to try. Because prayer isn't about getting answers. It's about asking the right questions out loud. If you found value in this journey, consider subscribing to the Jewish Code. Drop a comment. Do you pray with your lips or with your heart? And don't miss our next episode, The Hidden Geometry of Hebrew Prayers.